Hello, ma'am. Welcome to the New Indian Express.
Hi, welcome. Thank you. What do I say? Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me for this session. Yeah,
Sure, ma'am. So, ma'am, I'll
yeah,
go to the first question. Now, with respect
yeah,
to actress Honey Rose's case, do
yeah.
you feel the need that our sexual harassment laws need to be made much more stronger in order to actually serve all these women who have been wronged?
See, the thing is, the laws. I feel are strong enough. It's not a question of not strong. It's a question of implementation, and I'm really happy that in this case they really took action because it is a cognizable case and they took action and they did not look at the face of the person who actually committed this. I mean, it's a statement which he made, because usually the entire barrier comes in when you don't even take an action, so that's where the whole problem lies. But the fact that uh, an FIR was initiated and action taken, the guy arrested, it makes a lot more. I mean, the fact that he's arrested makes it a lot more. I mean, it gives a lot of. It's a boost of confidence for the women concerned. But uh, like I would like to also say that it should apply equally to all women, not only women who are in the public, space, and who are um, who have their voice. Because there are so many people who just find take it's a huge barrier for them to just approach the police station and file an FIR. I mean, even if they go, it's taken very lightly.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Ma'am, now one of the sections under which this case was filed is section 75(4) of the BNS,
yeah,
the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Now,
yeah.
don't you feel that there is a lot of ambiguity with respect to section 75(4)? Because each message or each text needs to be interpreted in order to actually find out what is the intent with which the person who's sending such a content has to that has to be determined by in each. So do you feel, how do we deal with all that ambiguity, do you feel?
I don't think there is an ambiguity because the text itself, I mean, the intention, the mere fact that he sent that text shows that intention. So there is no, I mean, like, no one sends a text without any kind of thinking behind it. You don't send a text with as a joke, or, as if like I don't. I mean, you may, for a friend whom you know very nicely and the friend knows you, then maybe you can say that intent may not be there. But someone whom you are just like meeting in the public sphere, or she may not even have met him, and he is sending texts. I don't know what kind of text, but whatever text which she has felt uncomfortable, the intention is very clear. Because when you talk about sexual harassment as such, it's not the intent of the person who sent it, it is what the impact it is made on the person who receives it. So here she definitely did not like the kind of text which actually came, you know and most people kind of, I mean, normalize it, or no one would actually go file a complaint on that. But she said enough is enough and this can't happen, and she took the courage. I mean, that's what I appreciate about her, is that she took the courage and she's kind of given the message to a lot of women that you please go ahead and file a complaint. More women should come out and say that, see, these kind of things are not acceptable, because women do not come out. That is the main thing. And even if they come out, they are kind of, even now, like after, even if they come out, they are kind of targeted, or they are kind of belittled, or they are kind of shamed for having made, or like tried to her their statements are trivialized for having uh, reached out, I mean, like reached out to take action against that particular incident.
Yes, ma'am. Now,
Hmm.
the offender in this case, or Bobby Chemmanur, who's a very influential businessman, at a
Yeah.
public event also,
Hmm.
he made a statement. He referred to a character in the Mahabharata, which was which made this actress very uncomfortable, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now he says that that what I mentioned, I was just referring to a character of the Mahabharata. But as I said, sir, ma'am, all this that was what I was actually referring to. Now that again, there is a lot of interpretation. What what was uh, what was the intent behind? Was he actually? What was the intention behind making a statement like that?
See, it's basically, Alan, it's these are statements made for titillating the audience. And when you have someone on the stage also, and who finds this very uncomfortable, because you somehow come to know, okay, this is the kind of attitude this person has, then you really feel uncomfortable and you really feel unsafe. And these kind of statements are definitely made to kind of to get a cheer, or it's a very misogynistic kind of statement. These would be misogynistic kind of statements, which though you refer it to a character, it is basically not intended. I mean, it's basically intended to get a laugh. It's nothing beyond. I mean, it's nothing like he was talking about it seriously and things like that. There's nothing like that, because if you look at it, Alan, many people make these kind of jokes. I mean, see, it's uh, that it could have been very easily let off. She could have just said, forget it. Maybe she could have just walked out of the stage, and then she would have just made a statement in the public, in the media, and then she could have just kept quiet. Despite that, she decided to file a complaint, and that's what I appreciate about her, that she did not take it lightly. She did not normalize this. She made it easier, or I feel paved the way for women to make complaints or feel confident. That is what I appreciate. How the investigation goes later on, how the charge sheet will be filed, it's matter which we'll have to wait and watch. But the fact is, what is commendable about the fact is that people are not keeping quiet, and that is the message we have to take from this. It's the fact, and the thing is, you cannot take these statements here. What one has to also understand is that you cannot make these statements lightly, especially in a public space with people who are there, whom you don't know how they are going to take it, because these are, as per the new law, they are cognizable, even if it's a 1 year imprisonment or a 3 year imprisonment, as section 75 is. uh, it is cognizable, and it is non-bailable. So the seriousness is there. The fact that the legislature kind of made it non-bailable itself shows, cognizable and non-bailable and triable by a court of session, itself shows the kind of gravity the uh, legislatures have put on that particular section. Now, there could be people who say that it is being misused and why should she have gone. I mean, all that kind of discussion will be coming on later on, and which is natural also, I feel. But the thing is, it will prevent a lot of people from taking for granted that you can make all these kind of comments and get away with it. That is not that people will think twice now. They're not going to, because it's become a norm now, to kind of make these disparaging comments and then laugh it away and say, oh, I made it as a joke, I did not intend it that way. You it's become like that now. That cannot happen, and the fact is that the courts have also seriously taken it and did not give him bail also is a very important aspect there, that we are looking at. Because when you talk about sexual violence, it starts from these disparaging comments. And if we do not put a stop to this, it's like, okay, I can go a little more. Then again, you don't do anything. Okay, I can try something a little bit more. So when women keep silent about it, it's not because they are agreeable to it. It's because they feel that why make an issue? Or people will kind of question them for having made that issue. So that kind of stops. So at least this message has come, कि you cannot make these statements like this which are which are not comfortable for women, which are sexually loaded, you can't take it as a joke, nor can you normalize it. It will come under it will constitute sexual harassment, and you just cannot take it lightly. That's the message this particular incident has really come about. And we totally are in support of her, and we want more women to come out and object to this. These kind of um, these kind of comments or these kind of statements which really make that entire environment unsafe for women. you know so if she kind of had let it go, what would have happened? Oh, she is that kind of person, so we can say whatever, and that conversation could have gone wherever. She pinched it at the bud, and that is what is commendable about it. And I'm really what I would say is, I commend her courage for having done that.
Yes, yes, ma'am. As you said, ma'am, this will actually last a long time. The impact of what she has done will last a long time. But
Yeah,
don't you feel that one question of law, one argument that could be brought forward is she has said that she has faced cyberbullying from a long time.
yeah.
Why, as you said, one point you put out there was that it was nipped at the bud. But from what we realized, from what she has said, is that the bud started a long time back. She has faced cyberbullying from a long time back. So there will always be a. Don't you feel that there will always be a question as to why this was not taken up before? If she had come at the start, as you said, nipped at the bud,
Hmm.
then this could have, she would never have to have gone through all this. Will that be a question in the court of law, ma'am, as we
It
go
it
abroad?
could be, because for as part of the defense, people could bring this out. But the thing is, Alan, you never we cannot say it you decide enough is enough. You keep on, cyberbullying is something that a lot, because somehow the implementation, the enforcement of our law is so lack, and the way things are going on, uh, one really does not have the law sometimes does not inspire confidence in a lot of women to actually take for these issues before the law. So that's why I'm saying I'm commending her, confidence, because as a person who is dealing with these issues, I see the kind of pressures women have to go through, or the barriers which the women have to go through just for initiating an FIR, and how many times they would think, and sometimes, they would be thinking for years before they actually file a complaint. So the thing is, it's never like, you hit someone, you can go, I'm going to file an FIR. It's not like that. When it's a case relating to sexual violence, whether it be by words or whether it be by action, the woman concerned thinks twice, thrice, four times, five times before she actually gets the courage to go file a complaint. And she needs to get a support system around her who will be able to say, you go ahead, we'll be there for you. Now, that kind of confidence one has to have. So, if she says that there have been cyberbullying earlier also, it's not as if that we didn't have punishments earlier, but the fact is that it did not inspire confidence. I mean, the fact is that, you need to have a stop somewhere. And that is what a lot of women actually, if I uh, have to talk about, like, another example, I would say, which is very public, is Rana Ayub. The amount of cyberbullying she has been facing, and what is the, despite giving complaints, nothing much has been happening, right? So when you see something like that, uh, women do not feel confident. That there's no confidence to kind of go ahead. But when she said enough is enough, and she has gone and she's filed a complaint, and action has been swift, it will give an example. Oh, okay. So action can be taken is the message which is going. So that is the difference. So the thing is, um, implementation of the law, that is important. the wheels of law has to start without really, the trial will go on. The trial will go. He will get bail eventually. The charge sheet will be filed. Investigation will happen. Let that process happen. Then you can decide whether he's guilty or not guilty or whatever. But you cannot. But the message should go that something like this, messages like this, conversations like this or talks like this cannot happen because they are indicative of sexual violence, and that is the start, or I would say grooming towards sexual violence, which has to be stopped. And a lot of women are, I feel a lot of women kind of keep quiet saying that, uh, you know, nothing is going to happen, so this is a kind of landmark event at this particular stage with the BNS coming in and all, which kind of gives confidence to a lot of women. I don't think that things are going to change overnight, even after this case, but because it is a cine artist, because she's a public figure, things have speeded up. But I don't know if it's a common person goes, will it be the same effect? But still, at least she's led the way. That's what I feel.
Okay, ma'am, I'll come to the final question, ma'am.
Yeah,
The final question is, ma'am, when Honey Rose actually came out with all these allegations, almost before Bobby Chemmanur was identified as the offender, there were
yeah,
almost 30 cases. The cases were registered against almost 30 people, and one person was arrested. Ma'am,
okay,
as the cyberbullying has been happening, what we come across is that most of these obscene content is posted from accounts that are fake.
yeah,
When you go into those accounts are fake.
hmm,
There is somebody else who's operating all this.
yeah.
So, ma'am, how do we deal with that issue, ma'am? How do we bring the true wrongdoers to justice? Because even in courts, how does a process when you, especially when social media being so vast as it is very difficult to actually point out who did what. Because I could easily start a fake account. I could easily go after somebody on social media. I could bully them. And no, and with the confidence that nobody will come after me.
True.
How does the law go after them?
Actually, you're supposed to make a police station complaint. It goes to the cyber cell, and the cyber cell has to investigate. It can actually close the accounts, or find through the IP address, try to find out who the person is. The police can very well, the cyber police can very well find out and do the things. Again, like I said, implementation is the key, and one needs them to be more proactive rather than keep quietly, oh, forget it, report it or whatever. I mean, it cannot happen like by us just filing a complaint. The cyber police or the police have to work together to really uh, uh, they have to really work to actually find the person. um, that's slightly at a very but that implementation is slightly at a tardy stage, I feel. Some cases they really are very proactive, some cases they are not proactive, but then there are technical issues also. I think only the investigating police officers will be able to tell you. But the thing is, it requires, I mean, they have the skills, they have the tools. The complainants do not have those tools. The complainants cannot give proof or whatever, but they can only give the screenshots or whatever. It is the investigating agency, the onus is on the investigating agency to do the needful, and it is the duty is cast upon them to do it effectively. Um, that needs to sharpen, and that needs to be at a that needs to be done in a very effective manner. That has to, because and then frankly speaking, when you come to cases relating to women, um, maybe I or cyber crimes, there's a kind of lethargy. That lethargy, sorry, there's a kind of lethargy which prevents action from being taken. There's a kind of lethargy which sometimes it's like, oh, some of the things which I hear is like, they will settle, or why are you, it's going to be a long process in the courts. It's going to be you will have to spend 2 or 3 years, and sometimes it comes from the police themselves. Oh, you'll have to spend 2 to 3 years in this, and you know, uh, 2 to 3 years, and then nothing is going to happen. Where is the proof? You bring the proof. That is the way people are discouraged. So when you're discouraged, then they say, okay, rather let me just keep quiet about it and go. Sometimes sometimes what we say, that we see that police station complaints are also not really, I mean, you're supposed to get a receipt and all that. Even that is not given for a person who goes and files a complaint. So we are working from that stage. As a lawyer, or as a person, as an activist who is working for women and children, when I see that uh, someone like this actress who uh, reported and action was taken immediately, it gives me hope, or at least it gives me a precedence to show that, see, she filed something, action was taken. So you can also do it, because you have to convince the woman so much before you actually take action. And for any criminal action to be proceeded for, the starting is the FIR. So, how the implementing agencies deal with it, and it's not just, Alan, the challenges are, it also, it's the police, the prosecutor, it's how they take it. So, police, prosecutor, judge. These are the three people which we will have to deal with while on the way of, the actually dealing with the case. And if you come from a vulnerable background, that is, you're coming and you're not economically powerful, and you belong to one of the marginalized category, then the way the prosecutor may be handling the case would be very like, why are you, like, putting so much of time, and why are it's there. I mean, like, that implement there is a lot to be desired for proper implementation or proper trial of the case, or proper, because just by registering an FIR does not mean, there is you're successful. That's just the first stage. You have you have you have started, you have set the ball in motion. Now the main thing is basically investigation, charge sheet, and then the trial. So it's a long process ahead there. The first process has been successful. This person has been arrested. He will get out on bail soon. Maybe 60 days he might be. I mean, because he is he belongs to a, he has the money, so may not be 60 days, maybe 30 days, or maybe 15 days, or whatever. We are not concerned about that. But once he comes out, then that entire process of the evidence taking and all, that is going to be the key for eventual final, um, a conviction of that person. So that's a long process. This is just an FIR. He is innocent until proven guilty as per law. So there is going to be much behind the scene actions later on also. But the fact is, the law, at least at the first instance, has shown a positivity and optimism key action can be taken. That itself is a very optimistic state of the entire thing.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for sitting with us. Thank you for talking to us about this subject, which needs a lot of explanation. And as you said, ma'am, this is a very progressive judgment. Let's hope everybody starts thinking like this. Let's hope law starts changing more progressively so that justice is delivered much more easily to all the victims who have been wronged through cyberbullying and other offenses. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alan. Yeah.